Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Compass. It's been a week since the last case of COVID-19 was confirmed on PEI, but that's not slowing measures to stop people from visiting this province unnecessarily. And there are new measures to deal with non-essential travelers who arrive by plane. Nicole Williams joins me live in studio once again with more. Nicole, first off, how many people are still coming to PEI and who are they?
Louise, hundreds of people have come to PEI in the last month. Since the end of March, a little more than 1,400 vehicles have been screened at the Confederation Bridge, and a little bit more than 1,750 people have been screened at the bridge and the airport. Now, in terms of who those people are, Dr. Morrison says some of them include permanent residents that are coming back to PEI. The same thing goes for university students who are from here but study out of province. There are also locums that come to PEI to backfill doctors here, as well as some people who need to travel for medical appointments. But as summer approaches, Dr. Morrison says there are thousands of emails and calls coming in from people asking about being able to travel to PEI. Here was her message to those people today.
As the weather gets nicer and summer gets closer, we certainly normally would see increase in visitors to our island. I would like to remind anyone wanting to travel to PEI that it is not the time to come for non-essential reasons. And you really should be coming for essential reasons only.
And Nicole, there are new measures in place at the airport to deal with any non-essential travelers.
Louise, today we were told that anyone coming to PEI by plane for non-essential reasons could be turned away as well. That means those people will be put into a hotel to self-isolate until the next available flight can take them back to where they came from. Now, Dr. Morrison today said they haven't had to do this with anyone yet, but we did ask who pays for the flight and the hotel. The province says it could be the traveler, but it depends and will vary on a case-by-case basis. Now, these new measures are possible because of the state of emergency that came into effect last week. So this is on top of non-essential travelers being turned away at the Confederation Bridge as well.
Thank you, Nicole. That's Nicole Williams reporting live in studio tonight. We have some new numbers as well on just how many people on the island are currently self-isolating. It is 1,585. Every single one of those people is being called every day by public health to check to make sure they understand what they're supposed to do and that they are following proper guidelines. After weeks of uncertainty, island fishermen have learned when this year's spring lobster season will get underway. It's going to be later than usual, and the season is going to look very different. Brian Higgins reports.
Fisheries and Oceans Canada says the spring lobster season in the southern Gulf of St. Lawrence will begin May 15th. That's 2 weeks later than normal and later than dates island fishermen had recommended after a vote just this past weekend. DFO says the May 15 start date will give lobster processors time to get up to speed and time for fishermen to adopt safety precautions against COVID-19. But the date is not what island fishermen asked for. The weekend vote recommended staggered start dates, May 6th on the North Shore and a week later on the South Side. The PEI Fishermen's Association sent those recommendations to Ottawa just last night.
Obviously, there's some frustration out there, but I think one of the things is that it's brought clarity. We've had a lot of uncertainty, not just on the island, but in northern Nova Scotia and also New Brunswick.
The May 15 start applies to all fishermen in the southern Gulf, but lobster fishing in other areas, such as the south coast of Nova Scotia, is already underway, unaffected by delays.
There is impacts. If Nova Scotia is fishing prior to our season, that can have some impacts, and we're hopeful this year that inventories don't get too high.
Some fishermen I spoke to today say their weekend vote was pointless, the decision unfair, and the delay too long. Others say they are relieved. They say those 2 weeks will buy them precious time to line up buyers during these uncertain economic times. Now, health officials say they will have safety protocols ready to roll out in coming days for fishermen, and the Fishermen's Association says it may request an extension to make up for the 2-week delay. Brian Higgins, CBC News, Charlottetown.
For those who are still wondering about the recreational fishery, there was more talk about that today. Dr. Morrison says she realizes there is a lot of interest in this and that it may be part of what is reopened on May 1st. She's working with government now to assess the risks, and there will be further details on that in the coming days or next week. Ottawa announced $9 billion in financial aid today to help college and university students impacted by the pandemic. Students who can't find summer work or who earn less than $1,000 a month will be eligible for about $1,200 a month from May through August. UPEI Student Union says that will definitely help, but a lot of students will still be left struggling if they can't find work this summer.
If I look at the $1,250, if a student's making minimum wage, that equals to what they would typically receive, I would say, for about 25 hours of work a week. So it still doesn't fully compensate for that full-time, for those full-time hours that they might have had over the summer, but it's definitely a good start.
The student union at Holland College is also calling the benefit a good start. It hopes more supports will be rolled out. As part of the federal aid package, Ottawa also announced more money for the Canada Student Loan Program, more graduate research dollars, and up to $5,000 for students who volunteer over the summer. Atlantic Beef is looking at how it might expand its output. A massive beef processing plant in Alberta has closed temporarily because of an outbreak of COVID-19. That likely means demand is set to increase for beef processed elsewhere. Officials with Atlantic Beef say they're looking at hiring more workers and expanding hours of operation, but it won't be possible to fill such a large void in supply across Canada.
It's a hole that is going to be very difficult for us to fill. In fact, there's no chance that we can fill it because first of all, we don't have the cattle supply locally to do it. Secondly, we don't have the processing power to do it. What we're focusing on right now is to take care of our existing customers to the best of our ability. And if we can help them over and above in markets that we don't typically serve, we'll do that.
Russ Mallard says beef prices should remain stable on the island and in the Maritimes for now, but warns that outbreaks in eastern Canada could limit supply here, and that would drive prices up. COVID-19 is creating challenges at big companies across Canada. So we checked in with some of PEI's largest employers to find out what they're doing to prevent spread. We spoke to Royal Star Foods in Tignish, Standard Arrow in Slemon Park, and Cavendish Farms in New Annan. Here are some of the measures they are taking. Thermal imaging cameras to measure body temperature of incoming workers, staggering shifts to prevent workers from being on the floor at the same time, plexiglass and other barriers to shield workers when they can't do physical distancing, and in some cases there is paid leave for staff who have to self-isolate or care for a family member. Public Health says if there is a workplace-related case, there would be a discussion about a possible plant shutdown.
Well, after some rain and some very strong winds this morning, the sky did clear up, at least for part of the day. We still have a risk of some wet snow and rain showers this evening, some flurries tonight, and cooler temperatures are ahead for your Thursday. Unfortunately, these brisk west to southwest winds will be sticking around as well. That's your Thursday. As for your Friday and how the weekend is shaping up, I'll be back with those details coming up in just a few.
RCMP in Nova Scotia say they are now certain the weekend shooter acted alone, but they're still investigating whether anyone helped him leading up to the rampage. The force also responded to criticism about why it didn't use the public alert system to warn people about the situation. Some say a warning could have saved lives. The RCMP says its general practice is to use social media, specifically Twitter.
We use Twitter to alert residents of a firearms complaint in the Portapique area and to stay in. As we searched the area, we discovered additional victims and several structure fires. We established a perimeter, and our search continued into the evening and early morning hours on Sunday. In response to new information indicating that the suspect was not in the secure perimeter, at 8:02 a.m. on Sunday, the RCMP began providing real-time information on its Nova Scotia RCMP Twitter account.
Tonight, we have our first visuals of Gabriel Wortman on the day of the killings, and they show him posing as an RCMP officer. This video was captured by a security camera on a business near Truro just before 11 a.m. on Sunday. It shows Wortman pull over and get out of the fake RCMP vehicle he was driving that day. The video shows him get out of the car. He then calmly takes off his jacket, puts on a reflective vest before driving south. He was killed by police roughly 12 noon, an hour after this video was captured. Some first-hand accounts are emerging from the weekend as well. The brother of one of the victims spoke with CBC Today about his terrifying ordeal. Clinton Ellison's brother went to check on a fire next door to their home. He never came back and was found dead. Clinton was the one who found him and had to hide in the woods that night to stay safe. Here he is describing what happened, and we do warn some viewers may find it disturbing.
I shut my flashlight off. I turned around and I ran for my life in the dark. I went up the first cottage road or street or whatever, the access to the cottage that I could. I got up there to about a bend and I stopped. I was exhausted and out of breath. I turned around and looked down towards the road I had just run from to see a little flashlight flashing around looking for me. I ran so hard into the woods. I laid there for approximately at least about 4 hours, hoping and praying that the police would come. The police would come. Finally, after about 4 hours, they got me out of there with an armored vehicle. A nightmare through hell. It's a nightmare through hell. I see a lot of people are in a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain and suffering. My heart goes out to the rest of us that are suffering. That's about all I can say.
Quite something. There are so many sad and terrifying stories emerging this week. And in the midst of all of those, there is one story that is giving people some hope as well. A beloved family dog who was shot by the gunman is now recovering. Carolyn Ray has that story.
It was Sunday morning when an RCMP officer called the Central Nova Animal Hospital. A small dog had been shot.
At the time, I didn't really know what was going on, so you just say, yes, I'll help you out, and you go help out.
I was pretty shocked when I first saw it. I've never seen a gunshot wound in a person or an animal.
It wasn't before long that 9-year-old Zoe was in their care. They faced a horrible realization. The dog was a client at their clinic. Her parents were Jamie and Greg Blair, who were victims of the massacre. McKay's sons played hockey with their children.
Renee held it together a lot better than I did, but she pulled me back together and we did what we had to do.
For McKay, saving Zoe was one of the most important moments in her career. She says the dog's recovery is nothing short of a miracle.
When the police officer tells you that there's 3 boys that love this dog and they've lost both of their parents and everything else they own, and this is the only thing they have left, you are hoping beyond hope that you can pull out some sort of magic.
As word spread, the phones here started ringing off the hook. Countless strangers offered to pay for Zoe's care. Instead, the vet clinic is going to foot the bill. They're asking people to donate directly to the Blair family. Amazingly, Zoe isn't the only injured dog who made it. Gina Goulet's beloved shepherd Ginger was shot twice. David Butler shared this image of her recovering with family. Now that Zoe is back on her feet, she'll spend a few more weeks at the clinic as she heals. Then she's going home.
We can't wait to reunite her with her boys.
Carolyn Ray, CBC News, Truro.
And as we go to break, Island Mi'kmaq dancer Winona Bernard has paid a special tribute to the victims in the Nova Scotia shooting. She did a jingle side step dance around the flagpole in front of the RCMP headquarters in Charlottetown. Bernard says this traditional Mi'kmaq dance is a way to help others mourn and helped her deal with her own emotions as well. More Compass for you after this break. Jay's here now for weather. And boy, Jay, talk about a wet and windy start to the day today. And then the sun kind of took over, but quite the start to the day.
Yes, and a day that will be bookended, I think, by a little bit of precipitation. Already seeing some wet snow, some rain, even some graupel, which kind of looks like small pellets of hail that have been falling over Prince County in the last an hour and a half or so. And there's a good chance eastern areas will be seeing some of that as well this evening. First of all, though, let's start with those winds from earlier today. Here's a look at some notable wind gusts from across the island today. And forecast was for winds between 40 and 70, and that's exactly what we saw. Peak gust that was recorded at a weather station, Maple Plains, just shy of that 70K mark. Sustained winds out of the west to southwest around the 30, just over 30 km/h mark, between 25 and 35. Over central and eastern areas, we are still seeing gusts to about the 50K mark, and that is the range of winds that we will see really for the next 24 hours, 25 to 50K. Now, those winds initially were out of the south to southwest this morning. That saw temperatures up between, well, as warm as 8 degrees into parts of the island. Now seeing those temperatures between 3 and 7 degrees. It has cooled off a bit. Now that those winds are a bit cooler and more of a westerly direction. Now you can see that wintry mix falling over parts of western Prince County. We do have some wet snow and rain showers about to build into parts of Kings County, and Queens County is not going to avoid this either. You can see there is more to our south, pushing north out of Nova Scotia, and we will see some wet snow mixing with some rain initially, and then flurries that will taper off shortly after midnight tonight. Area of low pressure itself is continuing to move north up over the mouth of the St. Lawrence into the Big Land, into Labrador. We will watch for into tomorrow morning with that frontal system to our east to start out with likely a mix of sun and cloud. Not as cloudy as you're seeing on this forecast model. A few isolated flurries will be possible in the morning, and then we have a chance for a few very scattered isolated flurries into your Thursday afternoon as well. More so for eastern areas, though, before that sky begins to clear up into Friday. We may be battling a little bit of cloud cover with a storm system tracking to our south. But I do expect a mix of sun and cloud, milder temperatures, calmer winds for Friday. It will be cool. It will still be quite windy, and we may still see a few flakes both tonight and tomorrow. There's a look at your conditions over the western half of the island tonight. We'll see those temperatures up only between 2 and 4 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Variable clouds, so a mix of sun and cloud with a few cloudy periods and a few flakes maybe falling at times. I think a better chance for that over eastern areas. So some flurries tapering off for the eastern half of the island through the overnight hours tonight. We do have a slight risk of isolated flurries tomorrow as well, and we'll be otherwise seeing a mix of sun and cloud with maybe a few cloudy periods at times. 8 degrees, though, that is a seasonal high on your Friday. Not bad conditions for Saturday. Late Sunday, some rain could move in, and that could lead to, well, some gustier winds, some wet snow, and a wintry mix, a bit of a mess on Monday. Louise?
Thank you, Jay. We'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, here's your photo of the day, Lauren Perry. This was taken a couple of weeks ago with, you can see there in the background, the Confederation Bridge. Beautiful picture, some seashell collecting there, I see. Love that shot. Thank you, Lauren. We'd love to put your photos on Compass. You can send them to us by email or tag us on social media. Well, many people are visiting their loved ones who are in long-term care in a very different way these days. Phone calls and video chats help, but there is nothing quite like being face-to-face, even if it's through the window. We're sure this next video will have emotions that are felt by many Islanders as well. It's from our CBC colleagues in New Brunswick.
Hi, my name's Debbie Ward, and I'm from Riverview, New Brunswick. And my mom lives in Grass's long-term care home in Riverview, and she is 98. Her name's Bessie Brown. She just nicely got settled in the facility, and then we had the lockdown. Okay, we ready to go see Grant? Oh, let's go. So my routine is get my cell phone, make sure it's charged, get my headsets ready, and then I ask my dogs, we call them the girls, if they want to go visit Grammy. Good girl. So of course, they love going in the car. In the car we go. We're only a 3-minute car drive away, so we're very lucky that way. I pull into Grass's home, drive down back towards the utility area, and I'm able to get turned around and back up towards my mother's window. I was here yesterday, and as I pulled down, she just happened to see my car going down by her window. And as I'm turning the car around, she's already there, and she's just a-waving, so excited, yeah. I get the dogs out of the car, and the girls sit there all pretty, and Mom and I plug in the headsets and we attempt to have a conversation. You like my dogs, eh?
Aren't they precious? Look at them, look at them.
Yeah.
What is it like to not be able to go in and see her face to face and be able to give her a hug?
Wow. We can't go in, so it's telephone, which has been Mom's lifeline. So whether it's myself or my other sisters or brother coming, we do a call ahead of time because Mom might be napping. Hi, Mommy, how are you? This is nice. Look, Mommy, we can touch.
Oh, it's off.
It's off.
Oh, they ain't good because you're missing the merch too. Yeah.
It's nice. The hardest part of the visit is often when I leave. Those are pretty emotional for us. And for her, I see the emotion in her as well, right? Yeah, that's the hard part of the visit. So I'm going to hang up the phone, so give me touch. Give me a kiss. Love you.
Bye, sweetheart.
I know. Okay, we'll be back. Remember, I only live 3 minutes away, so I'm never far, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Mommy. Have a good day, okay?
Okay, darling.
Okay, I love you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Steph.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Mama.
I'm Mitch Cormier. Thursday on Island Morning, the head of the Canadian Federation of Agriculture has been watching the federal funding announcements, and PEI's Mary Robinson says farmers have yet to get any support, financial or otherwise, from the federal government. We'll find out about her concerns on the next Island Morning.
Well, here's something you should know. If you do travel on the Hillsborough Bridge, you can expect some delays over the coming weeks. There's more construction happening. Traffic will be down to a single lane each way starting this Friday. This is a live look. As you can see, a little windy out there. The camera is shaking. The lane reductions will be in place 24 hours a day until the work is finished, and that's expected to take about 6 weeks. We do thank you for joining us tonight for Compass. You can log onto the website anytime for more news from around our province, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night, PEI.